Good morning or good afternoon, everyone. It's Friday afternoon here in the study, Saturday morning, sometime your time watching this video. All week we have been attempting to communicate in different ways with you just to ensure that we're making that appropriate connection with all of our church family during this time of dealing with coronavirus and COVID-19. This week I've been reminding myself, even as I've been preparing for preaching tomorrow, of the simple realities of what really we need to remember. I often go back to the Psalms, to Psalm 18, where it says, "As for God, his way is perfect, his word is proven, he is a shield to all who trust in him." A couple of verses later, he speaks of God as the Lord, as the rock, our strength. He makes, the text says, our feet like the feet of deer, able to climb the craggy, mountainous terrain in which we live. I want to remind you of the goodness of God, his mercy that endures to all generations, and how glad we are that in a time of great difficulty that God is present with us, that even as we live and discern and understand that God's way really is perfect. We've been working all week to make appropriate connection with people, to ready ourselves for our live stream service tomorrow, to really set the table in a way that would be really helpful to each of you. If at all possible, spend some time praying that God might bless the ministry of his word, even as we try to disseminate that through the live stream service. I've likened it to water that no matter how much you try to stop it from flowing, it'll always find its way. Ministry, love for Christ, love for people is very much like that. Because of the coronavirus, we've been prohibited from meeting in corporate meetings. To meet electronically is far less than ideal. But like water, that ministry, love for Christ and love for others, we find it that it will find its way using other means, which our corporate meetings have been prohibited as we wisely follow the counsel of our elected and health government officials. So I want you to think with me about being active with us as much as possible, sensing together the goodness of God, understanding that he can make our feet like the feet of deer, walking through a treacherous place. The footing is unsure. The future is really unknown. Many questions exist. We don't have a whole lot of answers as to how long we'll be in this situation. But we do know that God is sovereign, that he cares for us, he loves us, and that we in turn need to respond to him with trust, with casting all our care upon him, because we know that he does indeed care for us. In this text of Scripture, it says that Psalm 18:30, "As for God, his way is perfect." It really is a preliminary message that Paul, the apostle, gives in Romans chapter 12, where he says that God's will, we understand, we approve, we test and we discover as we live it, that God's will is good and acceptable and perfect. There is no improvement on the will of God, and this is God's will for us. And so in God's will, we live by his grace. We live knowing that he holds us fast, that he will be faithful. Sunday morning, we're going to be looking at Psalm 121, and you may want to spend some time today individually and then perhaps as a family reading that text of Scripture. From where does our help come? Our help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. He is the keeper of Israel, and he's the keeper of our soul. So be encouraged today. Know of our love for you. Know that we miss you all, being able to relate to you. I know I miss the interaction, the embraces, the the love of church family for one another. But this is our reality. This is what we live by God's direction. And we live comfortably. We live happily. We live faithfully under that will. So we look forward to seeing you tomorrow, even though physically, with these eyes, we won't see you. Hang with us. We're trying to adapt and make our ministry as meaningful as possible. So we look forward to having you participate with us with our live stream service. Remember that if you find that for some reason the live stream buffers a little too much, or your internet connection competes with others, that you may want to come back to that later. It will be archived, and we have heard that often coming back to that later, it is a far smoother experience. So we look forward to having you participate with us. Know that we have been praying for you. We've been doubling up our efforts to make appropriate contact with you, to encourage the deacons to do the same. We are having 1024 care group meetings Sunday evening, and so we are really eager to see what God will do in and through our church. The question exists: can we be together while we are apart? And the answer to that is a resounding yes. Thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow.